The Galactic Council's xenobiologist, Zethkar, adjusted his crystalline appendages nervously as he reviewed the expedition reports for the third time. The decision to send humans to Kepler 442c had been unanimous among the council members, a death sentence disguised as scientific exploration. The atmospheric readings are confirmed, announced Captain Sarachin over the comm system as the human landing craft descended through the planet's violent storm systems. Oxygen levels at 38%, gravity at 1.3 Earth standard, and those lovely acid rain showers the orbital scans picked up. Her casual tone made Zethkar's optical sensors flicker in confusion. The humans seemed almost amused. Kepler 442c had earned its Class 0 Deathworld designation through centuries of failed colonization attempts. The Vortak Empire had lost 3 entire fleets to the planet's megafauna. The silicon-based crystalline collective had watched their mining operations dissolve under the planet's corrosive atmosphere. Even the notoriously resilient fungal networks had retreated after their spores were consumed by the planet's carnivorous flora. Yet here were the humans, the galaxy's newest species, barely capable of interstellar travel, preparing to establish a research outpost on the most hostile world in known space. The Council had voted to offer this opportunity to humanity after their recent admission to galactic society. It was meant to be a gentle elimination of a potential competitor race. After all, humans had demonstrated an alarming tendency toward rapid technological advancement and territorial expansion. Better to solve the problem before it became unmanageable. Touchdown successful, Chen reported as the landing craft settled on a rocky plateau. Beginning environmental suits check. Actually, scratch that. Who wants to test the air quality the old-fashioned way? Through the orbital monitoring station, Zethkar watched in horror as the human commander actually removed her helmet and took a deep breath of the supposedly toxic atmosphere. Not bad, Chen said, her voice now coming through external speakers. Bit thin, but manageable. Smells like ozone and wet rocks. Johnson, break out the atmospheric processors. We'll have breathable air density within a week. The expedition team began unloading equipment with an efficiency that disturbed the watching xenobiologist. They moved like a military unit, but their banter was casual, almost playful. When a 6-meter-long predator with razor-sharp appendages emerged from the nearby crystal formations, Zethkar prepared to record their final moments. Instead, Staff Sergeant Rodriguez calmly drew a weapon and fired 3 precise shots. The creature collapsed, twitching. Nice grouping, Chen observed. What do you think, Doc? Edible? Dr. Elena Vasquez knelt beside the fallen predator, already pulling out scanning equipment. Carbon-based protein structure, silicon-reinforced carapace. I'd say it's probably safe to eat. Might taste like crab. Everything tastes like crab to you, laughed Communications Officer Park as he assembled a relay beacon. Remember those methane-breathing slug things from Proxima Station? Zethkar's confusion deepened as he continued monitoring. The humans had been on planet for 6 hours and were already establishing defensive perimeters, setting up power generators, and apparently planning their first meal from local wildlife. Over the following days, the humans' behavior became increasingly incomprehensible. When the planet's infamous acid storms struck, they simply retreated to temporary shelters and emerged afterward to study the chemical composition of the rainfall. Dr. Vasquez discovered that the acid could be neutralized and converted into fertilizer for earth plants. When massive fungal networks attempted to infiltrate their camp, the humans didn't flee, they harvested samples and discovered the organisms could be processed into powerful antibiotics. The turning point came during the 3rd week. Seismic sensors detected the approach of Kepler 442c's most feared inhabitant, a territorial alpha predator the size of a small spacecraft, with hide that had proven impervious to energy weapons and claws that could slice through titanium alloy. Zethkar watched through orbital sensors as the massive creature emerged from an underground cavern system, roaring its challenge across the plateau. The humans had perhaps minutes before total annihilation. Instead of panic, Chen's voice came through the calm with deadly calm. Rodriguez, you've got point. Park, I want those sonic dampeners at maximum output. Vasquez, tell me you've finished analyzing those pheromone samples. Ready to deploy, the scientist replied. If I'm right about the biochemistry, this should make us smell like a rival alpha male. And if you're wrong? Then we'll be the most delicious meal this thing has ever had. What followed was not a desperate last stand, but a carefully orchestrated operation. The humans used sonic weapons to disorient the creature, deployed chemical attractants to confuse its territorial instincts, and ultimately drove it back to its cavern using tactics that demonstrated an intimate understanding of predator psychology. But the true shock came afterward, when Chen filed her weekly report. Council Command, this is Expedition Leader Chen. We've successfully established Base Camp Alpha and completed initial surveys of local flora and fauna. Preliminary assessment, Kepler 442c shows significant potential for human colonization. The challenges are manageable, and the resource opportunities are substantial. Requesting permission to extend mission parameters and establish permanent settlement infrastructure. Zethkar's optical sensors dimmed as the implications sank in. The humans hadn't just survived the Class 0 Deathworld, they were thriving on it. Worse yet, they seemed to be enjoying themselves. In the council chambers, emergency sessions began immediately. How had their calculations been so wrong? How had a species that had barely achieved faster-than-light travel succeeded where the galaxy's most advanced civilizations had failed? The answer came from humanity's own representative, Ambassador Liu, during an emergency council session. You have to understand, she explained to the assembled alien dignitaries, Earth is a Class 0 Deathworld. We evolved there. Kepler 442c is actually quite pleasant compared to some places on our home planet. Have you ever been to Australia? The silence that followed was profound. We appreciate the opportunity you've given us, Liu continued diplomatically. Though we're curious why you chose to offer humanity such a valuable colonial prospect. Surely a world with such rich mineral deposits and unique biosphere would have been claimed by now? Zethkar realized, with growing dread, that humanity hadn't been eliminated, they had been given a gift. And they were already asking for more. The galaxy would never be the same.